Hey guys, Pickle here. Want to tell you about our 2018 draft loadout, which is going to be packed full of fantasy football help and knowledge to make you successful at your fantasy football draft as well as in season. You can get your pre-order currently on the Average Joe Nation via our Patreon account. Make sure you sign up there and get yourself pre-ordered. All right, let's get into today's show.
Welcome, Average Joe Nation, from around the globe. Props to you for staying up to date and keeping in the know. Fantasy football, man, very soon you'll reign. The knowledge that these three guys have, man, it is insane. Fantasy football talk, hateful eight, they wear the crown. Hold it down, Pickle, Blackburn, and Trimboli, hold it down. Pulling up to LB Design Studio, we're getting loud. Season 2, headphones on, red light go, break it down.
Welcome back to the Hateful Eight Fantasy Football Podcast with your host, I'm Pickle, and with me as always, Blackburn.
It's draft day.
It is draft day, and Trimboli.
Greatest day ever.
It is the NFL draft day here Thursday that we're recording. Now, it probably won't drop till Friday, but it's okay. So, unfortunately, you won't get any of the actual NFL draft goodness on this episode since we're actually recording before, so we can enjoy it. So,
Goodness
goodness gracious.
It's not going to be a drop now.
No.
The goodness.
The goodness.
Everything's the goodness.
Oh, man. All right. So this week, we'll be discussing, obviously, the fantasy football news. Not that there was a whole lot, but we'll also be playing a new game that we created called Fantasy Draft Tank, which is kind of like a spinoff of the TV show Shark Tank. So we're going to do a little bit of a fun game where we're going to sell each other some players, try to figure out, are you buying in on this, their current state, where they're at or not. So I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, it's going to be a good time.
So, all right. As always, don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Twitter. The account is The Hateful 88. Oh, nope. At The Hateful 8 FF. Good night. Reading is going to be difficult. I can already tell today. So,
Good night reading.
Good night reading. All right. On to the fantasy news and notes.
Fantasy news and notes.
All right. Fantasy news and notes presented by Body Armor Super Drink. Superior hydration for today's athletes. Check them out at drinkbodyarmor.com. First one out the gate. Thankfully, hopefully this sticks, and he doesn't decide to go do mountain biking or some sort of off-the-cuff extreme sport of some sort. But Rob Gronkowski officially announces that he will be playing for the Patriots at least in 2018. No?
Go ahead.
I was going to say good.
Yeah. Okay, we had the same.
Okay, so you both that good. All right, that goodness. Got it. All right.
This is a good start, right?
It is.
Good.
I do think it's finally knowing ahead of time. Now we just got Tom Brady. His agent has said that as far as he's been informed, there's no change. Tom Brady's going to be back in 2018 as well, which is good for the Patriots organization as a whole because, let's be honest, if there's no Gronk and there's no Brady, there's no team. I mean, Belichick is there, but there's no team.
Yeah.
So, it will be interesting, though. There has been, in talks with the fantasy or with the NFL draft tonight and everything, there has been talks that they might move up to, there's smoke screens, like we were talking about Lamar Jackson being drafted by the Patriots, which I just have a hard time seeing Bill Belichick having a mobile quarterback. I know we talked about it. He's essentially another a similar make and mock-up, like talent-wise, of Deshaun Watson. When you look at the measurables side by side, you take the names off, and they're very similar. So I just still, that type of player doesn't seem to fit into a Bill Belichick offense to me, like a Josh Rosen or somebody like that, more like your stand-up, prototypical, throws the ball a bunch, doesn't really have a whole lot of mobility, isn't a running quarterback, seems more like a Bill Belichick-style quarterback.
Absolutely. Tom Brady's he's not quick of foot or fleet of foot, however you want to say that. So
No, hasn't been forever. If you
Since
ever
he was
watched
drafted.
if you watch his combine run.
And I don't know. I'm just not a Lamar Jackson fan, so I hope they don't. I personally think they're going to go defense, but
I think that the Patriots are going to do what the Patriots do best, and they're going to just build up somebody that they think's going to potentially could slip to them later, and I think, or potentially fall out of the first round, and I think they're going to try to bolster some random person. They always do every year. They pick some random player, and they're like, oh yeah, we're all about this guy, and then he gets drafted like a week or not a week, but he gets drafted like a round earlier because, oh my goodness, we got to have him. And
They end up always trading down anyway and trading in the second round.
they trade back. They trade for more picks later in the round. That's just what the Patriots and Bill Belichick and Kraft have always done. So
They just get a volume of guys at the draft instead of
Right.
some guys trade away and they only have a few guys to pick from. So when those guys don't pan out, now you're back to square one.
Right.
I mean, they find guys off the streets like Hogan that just isn't your name guy. I mean, the guy played for how many teams? He
Played lacrosse.
He played lacrosse
Yep.
in college. Played NFL. Got cut. And I mean, he was a big guy big talented player last year for him. So
Amendola, he was practice squad guy with Cowboys. And
right. I mean, you just look. This is what they do. They take guys and they make the most out of them. And then when they leave, thinking they're going to get some serious cash to go play somewhere else, they phase out. So.
Yep.
On to the next one. Giants cut Brandon Marshall. So, which according to this move will save them $5.1 million in cap. And the rumor of Dez Bryant going there, but the Giants have said not at this time. And I think they're trying to see what they get in the draft, essentially.
I think so
Yep,
too.
I agree.
Well, Dez came out and even said now that he's not even going to look to sign with anybody until after the draft.
He shouldn't. I mean, and I think this is exactly what Dallas and Jerry Jones wanted. They wanted to put him into a spot where he was kind of having to wait. He was going to have to wait. He was either going to take a one-year deal from somebody random that really probably isn't the best talented team around him, like a talented team in general, or he's going to have to wait till after the draft, which essentially I think that's what we're going to see now. As you said, Des made that very clear, and I know his agent said the same thing. We're just going to stay put, wait until after the draft, see how the dust settles, and go from there. But on to the next one. Des Bryant does turn down the multi-year deal, which we said that it sounded like that's what he was wanting. Apparently, he's wanting an actually just a one-year prove-it deal, which is smart. I mean, you really think about it. I mean, there's not really – I guess my look at it is most recently you have Terrell Pryor did the same thing, a one-year prove-it deal. It didn't go well for Terrell Pryor. But I'm just saying from Des Bryant's perspective, if he signs a 2-year deal and he blows it up this first year, I'm not saying that he will, but he goes in there and he does not to the 2014 year season, but we'll just say up in that echelon of stats, but then he's still locked in for another year where
Right.
he can't negotiate any more money.
Right.
Where if he goes in 1 year, he does great, he can renegotiate with that team or another team who's going to want his services at a later point. Or if he completely poops the bed, oh well, somebody else is going to pick up Des Bryant just on name alone.
Well, I mean, I get that, but the Ravens offered him. It was like 3-year, $21 million. So you're talking about $7 million a year.
And he's already guaranteed at least 8 this year
Right.
from
So
the
he'd been making
Cowboys.
$15 million just for this year, and then $7 million the next 2.
I
So-
mean, I'd take it, but
Well, he is
I'm
also
not being offered that.
He's betting on himself.
He's bet on himself, and he has said that it's not so much about the money at this point. He said his initial statements of trying to get back at Dallas and so on and so forth was just in the heat of a moment, but he has said that his actual what he wants to do is be surrounded by a team that's going to be in the win now, essentially. I mean, I think
Well-
he sees Father Time as coming upon him and to the creeping up like with time ways. So he's not got many more years. Let's be honest. He's going to be 29 this year in the season. So most receivers, specifically the type of style that he is, doesn't last much past the early 30s. He's a physical receiver. He doesn't run a whole lot of routes. He's not like Larry Fitzgerald who can run and who can, I guess, change his game. Dez is not going to do that. Dez is going to run 2 to 3 routes, and that's what you're going to get. It's going to be a 50-50 ball in the red zone every time. That's what you're getting with him.
yeah, I agree. I think he is looking for more of a contender role because Baltimore's not there. I mean, they're rehauling the whole wide receivers as we speak. So
Baltimore's going to be trying to struggle not to finish last place in the AFC North this year. I'm just telling you right now.
yeah, he's going to land with an established quarterback.
Well, he should. If he's smart, he would.
True.
Because he's on the downslide.
He is,
Right.
and I think that was why I think a lot of people thought the Eli Manning spot
Well,
was going to be good for
And
him.
I guarantee you, he probably did want to go to the NFC East.
He
But
did. He might still, but
the Giants, Philly, and Washington all said no.
I just think that I mean, you really look at it. I mean, Philly's got a good thing going chemistry-wise. They don't want to bring in a guy who is, I mean, I'm not saying that he is a problem, like a complete, like, off-the-field issue, but he does have attitude. He does have this me attitude like some of the other diva wide receivers. There are good wide receivers that aren't divas. He is one of the diva ones. Odell's another one. And having them two paired up against each other, one on one side and one
Eli
side on
would
the other,
just retire.
Eli would be like, no, I'm good.
I would. That's
Davis
insane.
Webb, it's on you, man. Good luck. So,
But,
but
yeah.
we'll see. Big one though. I like this one. The Saints did decline to match the offer sheet for Willie Snead, so he is officially a Raven now, which obviously proves why the Ravens missed out on Dez, I think, as well. mixed in with the fact that Dez didn't want a multi-year contract. So
That was Plan B.
Plan B, and Plan B is not as bad as it looks. I mean, Willie Snead's not a
I
horrible
like
wide receiver.
Willie Snead.
And I think he fits because he's gonna be more of a speed guy. He's gonna be able to get behind the defense. I think he's gonna be what Michael Crabtree can't be. Which I think pairing Dez, I'm more like that. Dez and Crabtree are essentially the same style. They're just slower, older receivers who are just more physical guys. They're not the shifty elite kind of, what do you want to call it? I don't know. I think this is a better deal for him ultimately, though, in my opinion. But that's just
Yeah,
me.
I agree.
I'm just surprised. The Saints must think that Cameron Meredith is going to step right in and take Willie Snead's spot.
Oh, I think he is.
So I think that's essentially what this tells me. They think that they got just as much what they got out of Willie Snead when they signed Cameron Meredith.
Willie Snead didn't do much last year. It was all Michael Thomas and Ted Ginn.
True.
If Meredith stays healthy,
Yeah.
you got a steal there.
Right,
I'd
true.
let Snead
I
go
agree.
too. Sorry Snead, but
Well, yeah, I mean, Bears should have kept him.
It should have. I think that he would have been a big asset to help with Allen Robinson, Taylor Gabriel, and I mean, I just think
The
with
biscuit.
the biscuit Trubisky. What is a company that does biscuits? Not like the ready to make biscuits.
Like Grands?
Pillsbury?
Pillsbury. I mean, what is it? Grands? You said? Never
Gra-
heard of it.
Grands biscuit? Get him at Kroger.
There you go. Well, see, here you go.
I need to eat more biscuits.
Pillsbury. It's Pillsbury. Pillsbury Grands biscuit.
Oh,
Damn.
well. You know what?
Yes.
I feel like this is one
Yes.
for you.
Boom. Knowledge.
Bringing in the biscuit knowledge. I
Hey.
didn't even know that was even like.
I
there
can
you
eat
go.
some biscuits.
Jeez. Oh my goodness.
So you're gonna break down our biscuit.
Biscuit mock
it.
draft.
We'll do. Yeah, that's my portion.
All right. No pun intended. Oh gosh, this show's gonna be great. 5th-year option pickup. So some big ones out there. Some names that you're gonna know. Leonard Williams with the Jets. Bud Dupree with the Steelers, which I think that's a good thing because they're kind of lacking on linebackers at the
Right.
moment. They're kind of the thin at the moment. So Amari Cooper with the Raiders, I think that's kind of a wait and see. Hoping maybe if he does blow up this year, that maybe I think they're going to trade him. I think they'll keep him if he has an average to poor year to see about the 5th year. But I think if he has a good year this year, I think you could see Amari Cooper traded next year. Honestly,
See, I think if he has an average year, they're going to trade him while his stock is highest.
true.
I think he's out the door either way.
You think it
Could
well,
be.
I guess it could be.
They need somebody to catch the balls.
Just true.
True.
They got nobody else. Well, yeah, they got nobody. Shaq Thompson with the Panthers. That's a big one. The defense continues to need help with Luke Kuechly being in and out with the concussions and stuff like that. That's a good thing to get the linebacker. Marcus Mariota, I think this is just kind of I think it's the same thing as you saw with Jameis Winston. It's like he is the best that we have, and we're expecting him to have a good year this year, and we need to build the future around him.
I'm not going to say he's on the hot seat, but I mean,
He's close.
He's close.
He's close. Now,
The new coaching staff's gonna give him at least a chance.
Well, yeah. But I'm just saying, like, for the hype that he came in to be, and same thing with Jameis. I mean, they're just not performing at the level they should.
I just don't think he's set up with what his skill set's for.
Well, yeah.
they got to figure out. He's one of those kind of the run pass option kind of quarterbacks that is going to be successful using his legs and using his arm and being able to move in the pocket, not standing flat-footed. That's just not his game, and it wasn't in college either. So
That's why the signing of Dion Lewis is perfect for him.
true. Which did you guys see the picture of? It was like voluntary camp, and it was Lewis and Henry standing next to each other, and it looked like a father and son. Somebody made a comment. I mean,
Derrick Henry's a
Derrick
monster.
Henry's like here, and you got Dion Lewis is like not even like he's like up to his like right here, like right at the chest level, and you're just like, good night, tall enough to ride this ride, Dion. He must be this tall to be the running back for the Tennessee Titans. Todd Gurley, 5th-year option. Obviously, that's just buying them time until they can figure out some big deal post Le'Veon Bell.
Gonna get paid.
Oh yeah.
If the Le'Veon Bell thing doesn't pan out this year, Todd Gurley is going to be the one that sets the tone, which is going to be interesting because then it's a domino effect for David Johnson, Ezekiel Elliott, all
See,
these guys.
Gurley's different than Bell. Bell's in social media. He's in the news, blurting out all this stuff. Todd Gurley's just behind the scenes. He bites his tongue, and he just goes out there and does the work.
Well,
Yep.
That's the way you're going to get paid.
True. The only thing he said was when you had Fisher, and he said this is a JV offense. But he was just frustrated, which anybody would be frustrated if they must have known that they had talent on that offense to do what they needed to do. They just needed a coach who was going to put them in the right spot.
Well, Fisher's a defensive coach anyway.
Well, they didn't bring in a good offensive coordinator. So.
True.
Let's see. Marcus Peters, he did get his 5th-year option post being traded to the Rams. Devontae Parker, Now, this is a big one because they do not have Landry anymore. So he is, essentially, from my understanding, Devontae Parker is the one.
Him and Kenny Stills.
Kenny Stills too.
Yeah, and you got Amendola down there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Forgot.
yeah,
So,
Amendola, yeah, you're
Amendola
right.
and Stills are going to be fighting for that 2 spot, from my
And
understanding.
then
And
whoever
then you
their
got
quarterback is.
Tannehill, supposedly,
Yeah,
even
but
today, they're saying he is the guy through 2018.
He's going to be
We'll
injured.
see.
So somebody put a GIF out there, and they're like,
It's
and it was
Tyler
like,
Eifert in a quarterback uniform.
right. Jeez. I did see a GIF though. It was like a guy kissing his like wife and kid, and it's like, this is Ryan Tannehill when the Dolphins don't draft a quarterback in the first round.
Right.
I'm like, jeez, you gotta feel bad for them. Vic Beasley, big one for the Falcons. That defense is a good defense, and Vic Beasley is a main component for sure in that one. So
Well, just wait in Miami when Tannehill goes down and then Amendola's right after him. They're both out.
Yeah. Well, he's injury prone too.
he is. So, man, not a whole lot of news. I mean,
No,
but
everything's circulating around the draft right now.
it is. It's a buzz right now. I mean, everybody's like, who's going to take this guy? Who's won? I mean, all right, so obviously we don't know who has won at this very moment, as it is Thursday at 6:32 p.m. in the Eastern Standard Time frame. Who do you think the Cleveland Browns take at number 1? I'm just curious when this comes out tomorrow, what exactly, how wrong or how right we are.
Baker Mayfield.
I'm Baker too. Yeah.
I want to say Baker, and I think it is Baker, but for some reason I can't tell with Dorsey if they're blowing smoke and just saying, and they're going to take Darnold or even Barkley. I mean, this is the thing. You really think about it, the domino effect. If they take Barkley one, I'm not saying they're going to. Please don't at me and say, yeah, they didn't take him, but tomorrow. But if they were to take Barkley, in theory, that domino affects the quarterbacks behind, because now the Giants can't take the guy that they've been talking about for a week potentially taking. Now they're going to take Sam Darnold. Then the Jets are going to take, in theory, Baker Mayfield, because that's who they've been all about moving up for. Then at 4, you've got Cleveland, who could take then Josh Rosen or Josh Allen. And then at 5, you've got Denver, who said that they're potentially going to take a running back or trade back. So, I mean, which
There's a lot of variables. There's Bills and Patriots have 2 first-round picks each.
Bills
They
have been talking about moving up.
Yeah, they can trade up to snag one of these quarterbacks.
The Colts has been talked about potentially taking a quarterback, rumored.
I think they should.
I think here's the thing, if they're planning on Andrew Luck being there this year, the true tell will be once they draft that first pick in the first round at 6 or whatever. I just think that if they take an offensive lineman, that tells me that they think Andrew Luck will be back. If they do not, and they take a quarterback, obviously the writing is immediately on the wall, and everything that everybody's been concerned and worried about this whole offseason is fact now, and that Andrew Luck's not going to be playing this year.
He hasn't thrown a ball yet.
He's still throwing the Nerf ball and the tennis ball. I mean,
Well, here's my thing. If I'm the Colts, I don't care if Andrew Luck comes back. I care if he comes back and plays like Andrew Luck plays.
true, when he was healthy.
There's a difference, yeah. So what, he's on the field. I mean, if he's only 70% or 60% of what he was, is it really that much better?
Right. Well, you saw perfect example, Derek Carr, when he was playing last year with his issue with his thumb and
his back injury.
and his back injury and everything, and you could just tell he was not 100%, and he
No.
just looked like a total different person. I mean,
But at least he could throw a football. Andrew Luck can't even do that.
and that's just a big concern, and it's a throwing.
that's your main
when it's in
job.
your throwing mechanics that you cannot still throw a football, and we are 2 years post the initial surgery, and we are still sitting here, and he's still throwing a tennis ball and a Nerf ball up to the draft, and everyone's like, "Oh, with the Colts organization, it's okay, no big deal. We're just not rushing him. He's okay."
If I'm the Colts, I would definitely grab either Allen or Rosen if he's sitting there. I mean, I know
if
they're
it
not.
makes it that far.
Yeah, if they make it that way. I'm not, of course you're not going to plan on it, and of course it's not ideal, but you have to prepare for it unless you're willing to roll with Jacoby Brissett.
I mean, I heard, who was it? It was on Fox Sports. They were talking to Shaw, the coach out of Stanford, and they asked him, if you're the Colts, what do you draft? Do you draft defensive lineman, or do you draft an offensive lineman? And he said, offensive lineman. He said, if he's there, he said, you take the guard Nelson out of Notre Dame.
You're a beast.
He said, because Andrew's going to need somebody to protect him, which
Yep.
I don't know. We'll see. I mean, it's a lot of what ifs still, but I don't know.
I'd still. You gotta. If one of those guys fall that far, the Colts really have a decision to make on their hands.
They do.
I mean, it's a no-brainer to me. I would. Nothing against Andrew, but you have to you have to do what's best for the team.
I agree.
It's been 2 years.
I mean, if you have any doubt that he is not going to be 100% by season start one, I mean, I know Jacoby Brissett's there, but are you really going to roll?
He proved that he's a reliable backup.
Yes, he's not a future guy.
So the Colts take, let's say they take a quarterback at 6. Are you playing him right away? Or are we sitting him?
I would sit him. I would roll with Brissett and then let him get acclimated and then let him in.
Maybe about three. Maybe by game 4 or halfway through the season, somewhere in that range, I'd let it ride. Because if it's Brissett's running the offense, nothing against Brissett, I think he's a talented quarterback, but he's not an elite quarterback or top tier quarterback, and they're going to be struggling a lot. And by that point, if you're week 6 or 7, they're probably struggling at like 2-5 or 3-4 at best. Let's be honest. So
yeah.
And at that point, I'm just telling you right now,
division.
if if Luck's gone, Ty takes a hit again. The only person that I think that helps you the most, I know it's kind of cliche, but I think Marlon Mack is going to be somebody still worthwhile because of what his ADP is going to be.
And Jack Doyle.
Yeah, so your tight ends.
You got Ebron and Jack Doyle are going to be fine.
I forgot Ebron went there.
But I'm just saying, so that's your 2 guys, and then you've got Hill. So I don't know. We'll see. So. All right, well, let's get into the next segment of the day. It's going to be the fantasy draft tank. So let's get into that.
Fantasy Draft Tank.
Fantasy Draft Tank presented by Fantasy Fate Ball, the one and only Magic 8 Ball for fantasy football. 20 custom answers to help you make those start, sit decisions and end them Sunday morning agony. Head over to fantasyfateball.com. Use our promo code HATEFUL8 for $5 off your purchase. So,
I like it.
Oh, man. All right. So, just as quick, like we said, Fantasy Draft Tank, very similar to the TV show Shark Tank. So, we're going to take fantasy players and basically promote them to the 2 other hosts and try to sell them on what we think they can be. And it's a yes for me or that's a no for me. So, you know what? Why don't we do the listener one right out the gate? Because we had a listener actually give his opinion. War Pigs on SleeperBot gave his opinion, and his statement was Julian Edelman as Brady's number 1 volume wide receiver. He should be a top 15 to 20 PPR receiver. So, did you take notes on this one, or did I miss that?
I just wanted to give you his ADP.
Okay, so current ADP, what do we got?
11th round, 44 wide receiver, but that's standard now.
Right.
Not PPR.
Not in PPR, but still, I mean, it's going to be right about the same.
Yep.
So 11th round is what we're saying?
Yep.
Number 1 wide receiver. Brady does favor Julian Edelman when he has been in there, minus Gronk.
A lot.
So
You want to know the numbers from 16?
yeah,
go.
please, let's see it.
159 targets, 98 receptions, 1,106 yards, and 3 touchdowns. The 159 targets was like 3rd in the league.
Oh.
I think only OBJ and Mike Evans had more that year.
That's what I'm saying. That's why Ramsey drafted him last year, even though he was hurt.
He was really hoping that he was, even with one bad leg, was going to be able to play.
I can catch it from the couch.
Right. At his current rate, what we've seen, what we know with Brady and him favoring Julian Edelman, no Amendola now, so it's truly, and no Cooks. It is Edelman as the main wide receiver. So I would say yes, I will buy on the top 15 to top 20 PPR receiver, but that's just my thought. What do you guys? You buying in, or is that a no for you?
15 to 20?
Yes, so a wide receiver 15 to wide receiver 20, so 16, 17, 18, 19, 20-ish.
And he's asking just PPR.
Just straight PPR. Do you think
Yes.
he's in that
Yes.
top 15 to 20?
Yep.
So he said
I'll
yes.
buy it. I'll buy it all day.
It's going to be all 3 then.
So all right, buying on that one. So all right. So kudos and thanks War Pigs on SleeperBot there for messaging us and giving his opinion on Julian Edelman and where he thinks. So
It's a good one.
I like that one. All right, which one? Who wants to go? Who wants to start? The hosts buy or sell.
I'll go first.
All right, go for it.
Rookie out of the gate again.
Yes.
Okay.
You ain't a rookie no more, man.
Heck yeah.
You're on there
I'm
now.
part of the team.
Rookie hazing.
All right, I'm going to go with the good one right out of the gate.
Right on the bet.
So it's Derrick Henry.
Yes.
It's who I've got to pitch to you.
Sasquatch.
Yes, his ADP is the 4th round, coming in at the 16th overall running back.
Okay.
So my pitch is that last year he only had 174 attempts.
Mm-hmm.
No more DeMarco Murray.
True.
In comes Deion Lewis. I think this is going to be more like a Coleman Freeman kind of split. So what I think is Henry's attempts are going to go up to 220, 230, maybe even reach 250.
Okay.
Which at that point, he's still got 744 yards off only the 174 attempts.
Okay.
So I think he can eclipse the 1,000, and if he keeps that touchdown ratio of about 6-7, which he gets goal line carries,
True.
it's going to put him around 150 points, which that's right there at the 16, 15 spot, and that's where I think he'll be.
So you're saying a running back 15, running back 16.
I think he's an easy number 2, and really in the fourth round, that's not a bad, second guy to have.
True, because he's probably not going to be your main wide running back at that. I mean, most leagues you're not going to be drafting
Right.
Derrick Henry as your RB1. So
True.
So you're saying as your RB2, you're saying you got him 15 to 16, running back 15 or 16 is what you're projecting, or that's what you're trying to sell on.
Sell it on, yep.
You got an opinion right out the gate or no?
I don't like the Dion Lewis being there.
See, that's my only hesitation on it because I see what Dion Lewis can do, and he has shown that he can be a main feature running back in the Patriots offense. Now, the Patriots offense isn't very much a ground and pound offense like I expect Derrick Henry to be the bull, essentially, to run through be the battering ram. So,
well, here's the thing. Dion Lewis went from 64 attempts was his most
okay.
to 180 last year. It's a big jump.
Yeah, I guess that's a big jump.
Derrick Henry in the same 2-year time span has played 9 more games because he's not hurt.
But
like Dion Lewis
What
is.
was Henry's yardage last year?
744 yards.
Okay, now take away 200 of that, maybe almost 300 of that. That came off of 3 plays in the final minute of the game where he busted off 75-plus yard touchdowns.
True.
3 times.
I'll give you that. But his volume would increase
by
almost 80 attempts.
I'm going to say a top 15 running back, no. But I'd say I can buy in the range of 16 or 17. I can't get on the top 15. I just think that there's a potential with Dion Lewis's, I don't want to say like his abilities, but I think that I don't know what we're looking at with that offense and Mariota and passing potential. And Dion Lewis is just going to be a PPR, I think, machine when it comes to the receiving yards for at least running back purposes. Because let's be honest, Derrick Henry and Sasquatch and this ain't going to be catching the ball and doing anything fancy out there out in the flat.
Right.
So I think he's going to be a one-trick kind of guy where it's going to be either out left, out wide. I mean, pitch left, pitch right, or it's going to be a draw or a dive, and that's going to be his bread and butter. It's not going to be any like zone reads or anything for Derrick Henry. I mean, let's be honest. He's going
to need the touchdowns.
He's going to be a touchdown dependent
because he's not going to be the third down back.
No. So I would give you 16 or 17, but I don't think I can go 15.
I'm with Pickle. I'm going to say 15 to 20.
So
a good RB2.
I will agree. I do think an RB2.
So I mean, you still draft him 4th round?
Yes. I will draft him in the 4th round because by that at least based on my drafting style, but that's just me. I would say at that point you're potentially probably taking a running back in the 1st round. At least I would. Then you potentially, depending on how many running backs go off the board, if the next top tier running backs go off the board, like the top, let's say 6 guys go, you're probably going to take a wide receiver. And then when you come around in the 3rd round, Derrick Henry I'm not taking Derrick Henry in the 3rd round. So right. I think 4 or 5 is very comfortable for me to take him in that 4th or 5th round, honestly, based on being a touchdown dependent guy, because he's probably not going to be, like we said, your running back 1. You're probably going to be taking, unless you go wide receiver early for the first 2 to 3 rounds, you're probably not going to even look at him.
I'm going 5, 6, or 7.
See,
round 4, there's still decent receivers on there, especially if you're in a PPR league. But also the top-notch quarterbacks are going to be around that.
Right.
I'd rather have one of the top-notch quarterbacks than to draft an RB2.
Yeah. Well, I'd never pitch him in a PPR standard at 4 anyways. But, and actually, what's weird is so now that I'm no longer selling him, I wouldn't even buy him at the 4 either.
No.
I'm actually hoping that the rookies, someone jumps in on these rookie running backs, and one of these guys like a Mixon or someone falls later to me. That's who I'd rather pick up in that 4th round or even the 5th.
I love Mixon.
So do I.
Yes.
But I mean, that's what I would assume too. I wanted to just see what your guys' opinion was on a guy like this because he's going to be sitting there.
And I think you're right with Geis and Barkley. They're going to be getting drafted before a Derrick Henry.
There's going to be all kinds of hype. All these guys, and then someone's going to fall that's been there, a veteran, and then that's the guy you want to grab.
Yeah. I
like it.
I like it. Like I said, I think my reach, I think 4 would be like the highest that I feel like I could draft him. Now but more comfortably, like I said, 5th round would be a comfortable spot for me. I think that's a comfortable drafting in standard leagues. Now PPR, I think I know it sounds bad because when you go to PPR, you're really looking at high upside volume guys and guys who are going to catch the ball in the backfield, and that's not him. So I mean, I kind of feel like in a standard league, you got Derrick Henry and you got Dion Lewis. And as you get to the half PPR, kind of gets to here. And once you get to PPR, it's about here. It's not like that big of in my opinion, a big difference because I think that Dion Lewis is going to make more on the ground out of the receiving game where he's going to get a lot more yards, he's going to get his points out of the targets and the receptions and whatnot, where I think Derrick Henry is going to be a touchdown, yard-dependent kind of guy. He's not going to be a flashy running back. He's going to be, like you said, he's going to be one of those guys where it kind of breaks off one of these big runs once every couple weeks where he runs for about 60 yards and a touchdown. He just hits the hole right, and he's out.
He had 3 of those last year.
Right. So I'm just saying, so if you give him 3 again this year, we'll just say, and he was fighting with DeMarco Murray, who was essentially the same style running back he is. He does not have that competition, so I just think that it's a different thing. So it's kind of hard to gauge what you're going to get with Dion Lewis, how much volume he's going to take away.
Yeah.
And the offense, if they're going to be passing a lot or throwing a lot. So
See, I don't think Dion Lewis is taken away. I actually think it helps him because DeMarco and him were almost the same running back besides DeMarco Murray could catch the ball a little better.
True.
Dion Lewis is not that. He's going to – I mean, that's all he does is catch the ball, really. I mean, that's going to be his angle.
True.
And I think Henry's going to get the more touches, but I still don't know if he's a 4th rounder.
No,
True.
I would not touch him in the 4th.
All right. You want to go next? You want me to go next?
Whatever.
All right. Well, I'll go next then. All right. My first one out the gate, we talked about him just a moment ago. Joe Mixon, the running back for the Cincinnati Bengals. Current ADP, 3.06 in a 10-man standard. So halfway through, a little bit over halfway towards the back end of the 3rd round. So he's not the front end of the 3rd round, I guess is what the best way to say. So he's not a high-end 3rd round pick. He's back end towards the snake.
Almost a 4th.
Almost a 4th, I guess you could say. So, but I got him as he's currently the running back 1 on the depth chart as Jeremy Hill is no longer there, and Gio Bernard is not built for the every down purpose back. He is more of the I don't want to say the passing down back, but that is what he's better at, I think. But he's a change of pace back. He's not the hand the ball off to him 3-4 times in a row and let him run up the middle type stuff. Right. That's just not him. So, but last year, 29th worst rush offense, only receiving 45% of the snaps and 50% of the touches. So, not really. He didn't really see. He did see touch-wise. He did hit 50-50. But snaps-wise, he was still under that 45, which another person who was under the 50% snaps and touches was going to be Alvin Kamara. And you saw what he did. So. But ultimately, it comes down to the offensive line. That was horrible last year. So with that, he still managed to be a high-end RB3 at running back 32. So 178 rushing yards or rushes on 626 rushing yards, 4 rushing touchdowns. Now, here's what was interesting. He had 30 receptions for 287 yards. So he did see a good bulk of receiving yards as well for a running back who really didn't see above 50% of the snaps throughout the year. So. But he finished with 111 fantasy points for standard. Not bad, not great, but for a guy who didn't see the bulk of the carries. Now, the offensive coordinator, Bill Lazor, has made it very clear that they are going to be doing a lot more RPO-style offenses in 2018 to help Dalton out against the pass rush, which basically puts them in a shotgun formation a lot more often, which Mixon played that very well at Oklahoma with Baker Mayfield. So, RPOs.
That means run pass option in case you guys don't know that.
I guess I should have
Where's that
prefaced
boom
it.
knowledge, dude?
Jeez.
Drop
Boom
it.
knowledge.
I
Anyways,
just want anybody to get confused.
no, true.
I'm confused over here.
So, anyways, I just think that's what he's more comfortable doing, and I am expecting. Here's what I'm selling him as. I'm expecting him as a low-end RB1, so right around that 11-12, or a high-end running back 2, so anywhere from 11 to 14 running back wise. Now, just to give you a general gist of who the running backs are that are around him right now in ADP, Kenyon Drake, Carlos Hyde, Derrick Henry, Dion Lewis, and Run CMC are all right there in that standard ADP-wise with him. So, of them, I would say at least – and Jordan Howard as well. I forgot about him. Jordan Howard and him are all going in that same ADP. So
They got Jordan Howard's way too low then.
Right. So,
In my opinion.
Kenyon Drake, I would take Mixon over Drake. I'd take him
Yes.
over Hyde.
Yes.
Yep.
Howard, I do not.
No.
Henry and Lewis,
Yes.
yes, both. And Run CMC, no, because I just think that Run CMC with no Jonathan Stewart, and I think that this offense is going to be a lot more shotgun. I think they're going to be very similar to what you're seeing that Bill Lazor talking about the Bengals offense, where it's going to be a lot of run pass options, and you're going to see a lot more of the zone reads with Cam Newton and Christian McCaffrey.
I still think that's an interesting one because we're talking standard here, right? Not
Yes.
PPR. If Mixon sees more rushing attempts, I think he could outshine CMC, who's his big stuff is all pass.
True. I agree. So like I said, I'm putting him in the what do you want to call it? In the 11 to 14 range. And that's what I'm I guess that's what I'm trying to sell him on as that. So are we buying into that, or are you guys yay or nay?
I'm buying.
You buying in that 11 to 14 in standard?
Listen, you know I'm buying.
I know you're
By
a
this
buyer.
point, third round, I already have 3 running backs.
Let's go for that.
That's actually a fact.
Let's go ahead and just make him my third flex running back. So, okay. Well, I appreciate that. Like I said, I was surprised that he is currently going as the third round, 6th pick in ADP right now. And when I saw the similar ADP running backs, I'm like, well, I'd at least take him over 90% of them. Howard and Run CMC would be the ones that I would be no for Howard over Howard, but Run CMC,
It's a toss-up.
That's a toss-up in my
I'd be happy
opinion,
with
so.
either one, to be honest.
Exactly.
So-
So what I can't wait to see what the comparable stuff will be when these Barkley and
Yes.
these guys come out because
Right.
that's going to change these ADPs.
True. All right. What do we got for your first?
I'm going to stick with this running back train that we're on and go with Jerick McKinnon.
Ooh, Jerick McKinnon. I like it.
Right now, his ADP's 5th round. He's the 25th overall running back.
Ooh.
Last year, he finished the 24th best, but he also split time early on with Dalvin Cook and then later on with Latavius Murray. Now he's in San Francisco, sold back right now, pre-draft.
True.
So he rushed for 570 yards and 3 touchdowns, and he had 51 receptions for 421 yards and 2 touchdowns. PPR, I mean, it's going to be even higher probably, but right now he's the lead back. Coach Shanahan said that he was probably going to be the feature back, and his ADP in my assessment is really low for what his production value could be.
True. I think people are kind of doing the wait and see. They're kind of unsure they know what they saw Carlos Hyde do the last 2-3 years of that offense.
They got what? They got Matt Breida and Joe Williams and somebody else.
Somebody off the street. I don't know.
But I think he's an easy running back too in that 12 to 15 range. Obviously a great flex player, but
Yeah.
in PPR he's going to be he'll be worth a little bit more, I think. But even in standard, I mean, I think he's a good RB2.
Yeah. So what are you selling him as? A running back? What did you say? You said 12 to 15?
What round am I getting them in?
Right now his ADP's 5th round.
I am in on this
Yeah,
one.
I'm in on that one too. I
Deal.
think I'm in way more on this than I am Derrick Henry.
Well, I think even after the
At the
draft's
4.
over, if the 49ers do not draft a running back early, like within the first 3 rounds,
Yeah.
I think his ADP is going to go up.
Obviously.
To around the 3rd round.
Yeah.
True, and I think we talked about Marlon
He'll
Mack
be-
being the potential as well.
Yeah, he'll be in that Mixon McCaffrey range.
Oh
Exactly.
yeah. So I like it, man. I didn't know 5th round though.
It's
I
low.
I would
Yeah.
literally love to draft right this moment so I could take Jerick McKinnon in the 5th round.
Oh,
please,
yeah, most definitely.
please. I'll take an extra helping of that. Thank you.
I just it's great this year. There's so many backs because
And you're right. With those, I'm telling you, Saquon Barkley, mark this. Saquon Barkley and Darius Geis will probably get drafted before Jerick McKinnon.
Yep.
Based on name alone, I mean Ezekiel Elliott rookie year his ADP was like I think 105 or 106. I mean, and
We had a
play.
guy drafted 1.1 in ours. Who was that guy?
This guy.
It was Pickle.
Oh,
Hey, he did win a lot of games by himself.
He did.
Oh man. Anyways, so yeah. All right. All right. Well, let's get into the next ones. So we've got one more each of us, right?
Yep.
So all right, let's go ahead and get into that.
okay. Well, I'm gonna stay with the 49ers with my next guy.
Oh, piggybacking. All right, let's
Yeah.
go.
I talked about him in my sleepers, and again, I'm here with him again. It's Marquise Goodwin.
Bringing him to the table again to discuss. I like it.
I'm gonna be discussing him all year.
Fair enough. What do you got?
His ADP currently is the 10th round. They got him as the 41st best wide receiver.
Oh.
How about this? He's 10 picks behind Pierre Garçon.
Wow.
I would take Goodwin over Garzon
So would I.
at this point.
So that's my pitch.
Okay.
So is he can be up in that wide receiver 2 range.
Okay. So he's in that 13 to 24 range is what you're saying?
He's probably on the tail end of the wide receiver 2,
Okay.
more into that flex play too.
Okay, so you're saying 21 to like 26? Is that what we're saying? Or you
Right.
Okay, so 21 to 26. So a low end wide receiver 2,
Right.
wide receiver, high end wide receiver 3.
Correct.
Okay, that's what you're selling him on.
Right. That's what. I think that's what I'm going to sell him on. But what you have to like is I know Garcon was out, but
True.
But still, him and Jimmy G have got this relationship going on. They got this rapport. But 105 targets, I love.
Yeah.
I mean, 56 receptions, 962 yards. The reason why I don't want to move him up any higher is because he only had 2 touchdowns.
So he's a reception guy versus a touchdown guy.
So PPR, I'd definitely move him up. I'd have him, into that middle of the road wide receiver 2
Okay.
because he could creep up depending on how many targets he gets again. But without the touchdowns and standard,
Right.
I'd still think he's like a pretty good
Right.
at that flex, maybe creep into that.
Low end wide receiver
Wide
2.
receiver
Yeah,
two.
I mean, because as we all know, in standard, it's all about yards and touchdowns. And if you ain't getting touchdowns, you got to be getting yards to be relevant. If you're not getting the yards, you got to be a touchdown dependent guy.
Yep.
And he's a even guy. Where he makes his money in fantasy is the PPR scoring,
Correct.
or even half point PPR, nonetheless. I mean, but still, for sure, PPR for, like you said, the receptions is where he's going to get most of his points, obviously, unless they somehow manage to use him more and he starts scoring more touchdowns. But ultimately, the receptions, like you said, is going to be what it's at.
But
Okay, so you're saying in standard, are we buying him at a wide receiver 21 to wide receiver 26? Is what we're saying, right?
yep.
Oh man, without knowing what they're drafting, the current what we're looking at, I like him better than Pierre Garçon.
Pierre Garcon's 31.
See, I like him better than Pierre Garçon. I'm gonna say I will buy him as a wide receiver 3. So I will buy him in that 25 to 26 range comfortably.
Okay.
Do I think he has the upside to be in that 20 to 24? Yes. But I think we're going to have to see a little bit more production, a little bit more touchdowns. 2 touchdowns for a wide receiver 2 is not going to cut it.
Right.
No, not at all.
So, especially in standard, he's got to be scoring. Like,
Right.
He's going to have to have like 1,000 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns to be a wide receiver 2 at that point to even try to sniff that range. But I think 25 to 26, I will buy him on. Anything higher than that, I think that's when you start getting into, as they say in Top Gun, the danger zone. And I don't want to be, I don't want to pull a goose and hit the glass and be gone. So, no, thank you on that one.
Gotcha.
If that made in any way, shape, or form sense, I comfortably will fly with Maverick in the 25 to 26, but I will not be Goose in the 21 to 24 range at this point.
I'm gonna stay in the 25 to 30.
That was an 80s reference, not a 90s reference.
Oh, no, I almost said it too, and I was stopped.
Top Gun?
Yeah.
Hey.
Is that a 90s? That's not a 90s. That's an 80s.
That's 80s.
No,
That's an
I
80s
know.
reference.
I almost said it, and I had to stop and pull myself back. I'm like, come on, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't be that guy.
Don't be that guy.
Why?
You've lost that
That's a great movie.
love and
No, not
feeling.
that. I said there's our 90s reference. I went to say it.
Oh,
But that
And I
wasn't the
stopped.
90s reference. I went to the 80s.
I didn't think this guy would catch it, but he did.
I did. Okay, so I say yes, and that's in the 25-26. No, 21 to 24 at the current moment, just
right.
because of
I'm on that.
we've only got one helping of what we've seen
Right.
of him, and I think he improves, but I don't know how much he improves. So 25-26, yes, for me. Outside of that, higher than that, no.
Like it.
Same.
So, all right. You want me to go? Or you? I guess is it my turn,
It
isn't
is
it?
your turn.
I can go again.
How many did you do?
Just 2.
He was just going to make us something off the cuff. All right. Mine is going to be Devin Funchess, wide receiver for the Carolina Panthers. Current ADP is a 9.10, so he is literally the last pick in a 10-man standard league in the 9th round. He is the last at the snake at the turn. So now for me, my selling points to you guys, he is currently the wide receiver 1 in this offense, and the clear-cut red zone threat besides Olsen, who did re-sign a 2-year, was it a 2-year?
Yeah, 2-year deal.
2-year deal, so he'll be back at least for this year, depending on injuries
That
and age.
means no
and
Monday Night Football for him.
Nope. No booth.
At least not in the booth.
Not in the booth. And then you got Curtis Samuel and Torrey Smith, who are pretty much their down the field speed threats. Now, I guess Torrey Smith is not as fast as he once was, but he still is, to me, him and Curtis Samuel are kind of the same mold of wide receivers. They're more of the get behind the defender type. They're not really work inside and kind of muscle their way through like slants and stuff like that. It's just not their stuff. So, which, I mean, you got last year's, he was the true wide receiver as well. for them, and he finished with 63 receptions, 840 receiving yards, 8 receiving touchdowns for 132 fantasy points, which got him as a mid wide receiver 2, as a wide receiver 19. So now I do say at the current moment as we're recording this, there is no red zone running back for the Carolina Panthers, unless you want to count Cam Newton as that red zone running back threat.
Which he does vulture a lot.
He does.
Yes.
So, but I said I'm expecting Run CMC to be the running back 1 and the Panthers to turn more into the shotgun run pass option style offense. So, now what I'm selling you guys as, I'm expecting him to be a wide receiver 2 high end, so right around 13, 14, so right on the cusp of that wide receiver 1, and potentially as low as the highest I have him at is right at the wide receiver 12, so right on the base of the bottom of the wide receiver 1s or wide receiver 2 high end, so 13, 14, so 12 to 14. Now, I will put this in there. Carolina's touchdowns came through the air in 59% of the time. Of that 59% of the time, 59% of the time was thrown to a wide receiver. So 16 targets to Funchess, and he scored 5 of his 8 touchdowns within the red zone, so from the 20 to the touchdown. Now, the other 3 were within the 10-yard line, so all red zone touchdowns for Funchess.
Big target.
He is. So wide receivers, though, similar with ADP-wise, is going to be Crabtree, Edelman, Robert Woods, Will Fuller, Cooper Kupp, and Demaryius Thomas. So, as I said,
I'm taking Funches over all those guys except Edelman.
Ooh. So, so what I'm selling you guys is I think he is a wide receiver. In standard, I believe he is a wide receiver 12 through 14. So, a low of the low, wide receiver 1 to the high of the high for wide receiver 2 is what I'm selling him on.
What did he finish last year?
He
19?
finished wide receiver 19, but he also was injured and was banged up towards the end of the season.
So you said what's your low? 14?
Low is 14, high is 12. Yes or no? Are we buying or we know? Is that a no for anybody or is that a yes?
I'm not buying.
I'm not. I'm.
So you're a no.
12 to 15.
So you're saying you need that 15 to be added in there to say yes.
Yes.
So
Maybe even a little lower.
Right.
So
well, he's the number 1. That's what I'm thinking.
Right, but he finished 19th with Olsen out, and Olsen was gone all year.
for most of it.
But they had Kelvin Benjamin for most of the year.
They had for the first quarter of the season. It was Kelvin Benjamin. So
he's not there anymore.
He's not there either. I mean, he literally it's him versus. Like I said, it's him versus Curtis Samuel, Torrey Smith, and I think it's Shepard.
And CMC.
I still think he's going to get a ton of volume and everything. I just don't know if I see him as the.
Well, I guess my thing is all 8 of his touchdowns came in the red zone.
Right.
Now, is that because of the product of Olsen not being there?
That's what I was.
I'm playing a little devil's advocate with you guys. Like I'm understanding. I based on his numbers and potential, he is projected out to be somewhere in that 12 to 15 range. By if you take his numbers and you take Olsen back in and everything, it does kind of bump him up.
Yeah, because Olsen's going to eat carries and CMC's going to get a bigger role this year.
True. But I do think that he still is a high-end wide receiver too. I just don't know if he's like right on that cusp of a wide receiver 1, 2.
I think he's a solid wide receiver 2.
I agree.
So are we all agreeing to buying in on him as a wide receiver 15, or do you think you still need to go down closer to what he finished at 19? Because he finished as the 19th wide receiver in standard last year, like I said. So
I mean, it depends on where you draft. If you don't think you can get a wide receiver on that, like you said, he was at the tail end.
Tail end of the 9th.
Yeah, when you're coming back, I mean, I would probably go.
By the 9th round, you're probably this guy is either a
that's a steal on the 9th.
He's a flex
Right,
or he's a bench player.
Yeah, if you're coming around that corner and you don't think you're going to get him at the next round, you might want to reach even in like the 8th.
Right. Well, like I said, the guys that are going around him are Crabtree, Edelman, Woods, Fuller, Kupp, and Demaryius Thomas. So, and you said, in your opinion, you would take him over all of them except for Edelman.
Yeah, I like Edelman's. He's going to get more targets.
Yeah, I do too. I don't know, the standard format, I mean.
He's a touchdown machine. That's the thing. But I'm also, I guess, the opposite spectrum playing like against this potential is you do have Olsen back now.
Well, you got Olsen back, and then last year Benjamin was there that ate into his carries.
That is right.
Receptions.
Right.
Samuel wasn't hurt.
Yes.
Or no, he was.
He was hurt.
So he didn't get anything.
Right.
Right. So now you're bringing in 2 deep threats, and Olsen, who is the short yardage and red zone guy for Cam Newton, is now back. So potential targets and receptions taken away for sure. I just think that he's proven that he's, like we said, he's a big physical receiver, and I think he's like 6'5", 6'6". So I mean, he's a big
guy.
kid in that red zone threat. So and I'm not sure how much Olsen's health. I know he is going to be healthy. It's just I guess.
Well, they wouldn't have signed him for 2 years if they weren't planning on him being around.
Well, right. So that's my question, though. How much? I mean, he can go through all the physicals that on the foot that, yeah, it's 100%. But until you get out there and really run.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, we've seen guys where they're 100% healthy coming off of surgery, and a couple weeks in, and they're like, I'm not actually, guys, I'm not good.
Right.
So,
Yeah, then we've seen guys not throwing the football yet.
True story. For 2 years. Yeah, it's all right.
that's the luck of it. Anyways,
Didn't.
all right, who you got as your final guy?
My guy is Marvin Jones.
Marvin Jones.
Played all 16 games last year, 61 catches for 1,100 yards and 9 touchdowns. He's the number one guy there.
Still, yes.
Yeah. I'm selling him as a low-end wide receiver 1. So I think the height, he's around that 8.
Okay.
But he could be as low as 12. He finished last year number 5.
Number 5.
Yeah, he was the 5th best wide receiver last year. And like we did in our last show, we did the 2-year comparison, right? The blind comparison.
Right.
50 points separated him and Mike Evans over the last 2 seasons. Now, his ADP, this is where it gets interesting. 7th round, 7th pick.
Ooh.
He's sitting at
That's crazy.
the 33rd best receiver.
Wow. You don't even have to go any further. I'm tapping in. I'm in on that. I want to play to that right now.
Well, yeah, if I can get him there.
If I can get him in the 7th round with what we've seen and the potential and the upside, and we just know that Stafford's going to throw the ball a ton.
Well, that's what. Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm trying to look up. Anyways,
Plus,
I think
there's lack of run game. I mean, yeah, they got LeGarrette Blount, okay, but
Well, they also have Abdullah. They also have Riddick,
right.
who did nothing.
They've had multiple running backs for years now, but it's always, Golden Tate a couple years ago led them.
Right. Well, and you got Galladay. There's
Right.
no Ebron anymore. They did bring in, I think it was like Fumagalli or whatever.
They brought in Oakland's second-string receiver or tight end.
So not impressive. But
So I got him as high as 8, as low as wide receiver 12. So I got him in that wide receiver 1 to
mid to low.
yeah.
Okay, so you're saying mid wide receiver 1 to low end wide receiver 1, and he finished 5th last
He
year.
was 5th last year. Yep.
Can I ask, what are you going to do with Tate, Golden Tate?
I would take him in a PPR.
No, I'm just saying on your pitch.
I think I don't know.
So is Marvin Jones.
Marvin Jones is the guy.
is the guy. That's what I want to hear.
He is the guy. He's your downfield threat, whereas Golden Tate is your screens, your gimmick plays, that type of receiver.
I think he is more of the possession guy, where I think Marvin Jones is going to be the yards and touchdown guy, which clearly he's shown. So, you got stats?
I was in either way, but I was just curious.
Well, yeah, I mean, the ADP alone is, when I looked at this, sold me on it. 7th round, 7th pick.
Yeah.
The guy finished top 5 last year.
So you're literally in a 10-man league. You're looking towards the back end, like a couple picks before the snake of the turn.
Right, yeah.
now-
He's almost an 8th round pick.
Wow.
So now, what is he now? 5th? If he's the 12th? I mean, that'd be higher than that.
Yeah, he'd be like a 2nd or 3rd
Third,
round
yeah.
pick.
Technically, he should be a 3rd round pick.
Like, I'm trying to think in my
Low
head
end,
because I
second,
think
third.
all running back and then
I
there's
get it,
other
but I mean, if he's going in the 7th round, we can get him in the 5th.
yeah.
And still be
No,
comfortable.
Listen, I'm buying him at that. I was just going to tell you, Stafford he threw the 4th most attempts last year. So I mean, they're throwing the ball. He was
Yeah,
ninth
I
the
didn't
year
write the
before
targets down, but
yeah.
it was a lot.
Yeah.
Jim Bob Cooter is back, though, and he's the one that likes to let Stafford just let it fly.
Let it
so
rip.
Let it rip.
The stat that gets me with Marvin Jones is we did the blind comparison.
Right.
Mike Evans led the league in receiving 2 years ago.
Yep.
Last year he had it was
It was an off year for him.
and Marvin Jones was only 50 points behind it. So that's just showing he's consistent those 2 years.
He's getting better every year.
yeah, it's consistent points every 2 years. Not Mike Evans had a high and then a low.
Right.
Marvin Jones is just trucking along.
What you like about this though is he's got the volume, and then if he just puts on even more touchdowns, then that's
icing
where
on
that
the cake.
wide receiver 1 comes right into play.
Yeah.
All right. Let me ask you guys this. Based on what we've seen and what we know, he finished 5th last year. If we see the same style and Patricia lets Jim Bob Cooter just handle the offense and be the guy and say, hey, you ran it last year. It was successful. I'm going to take care of this defense and kind of do the Sean McVay thing with Wade Phillips. Like, I got the defense. You got the offense. We'll call it even. Do you think that Marvin Jones can finish in that top 5 again? I guess are you buying? If Blackburn pitched you, he's top 5. Are you yay or nay?
I'm only nay because I haven't really looked at their schedule.
Yeah, I'm not doing top 5.
No, I'm just saying if you were to say,
Right,
if you were
right.
to, hypothetically, if you would have pitched the top 5, would you have taken top 5?
No.
No.
Okay, but you're comfortable at 8 to 12.
I'm comfortable at 12.
Comfortable at 12. Okay. See, I think I could take him. I think I'm comfortable at top 10. So, like, right around 9, 10. just because we've seen what he can do, and I don't even think that's the ceiling. I think that's like I'm not saying that's like his floor by any means, or that's like the mid-level. I think that's like a step ahead of the mid-level, but that's not his full ceiling. I think he could potentially be 6 or 7. I think that's his ceiling for me. Now, that's probably bold, but we'll get to that later in the season.
Well, he was 5th last year.
Bold predictions, but I just think that he's special. And when we did the blind comparison, that really opened my eyes to 50 points. 50 points is literally 50. What? We got 5. So you got 6 points for a touchdown. I mean, 6 points and 50 points.
It was like 200 some yards and a few touchdowns is what it was.
It's not a whole
And
lot.
Mike Evans, if you look at his ADP, it's second round first pick.
Right.
Second round second pick.
I mean, that's like
crazy.
Like you said, 250 yards and like 2 or 3 touchdowns, and that you're there.
Yeah. Like I said, I like it because we're going to get them.
Yeah.
Big.
I'm high on both McKinnon and Marvin Jones.
I am really liking this. I'm really liking Joe Mixon.
I like Mixon too.
I think Mixon's
too.
going to be a special one this year, and I mean, they're thinking that he might hit that 1,000 yards that Hill did in his rookie year. Now, granted, Hill had more than 50% of the carries and everything that year. That's the thing. I think anytime you give a running back more than half, Alvin Kamara was just special last year. Let's just be honest. Most running backs don't finish top 5 when they're under 50% of the snaps, under 50% of the carries.
And didn't even play until week 5.
True. That's a random stat that just doesn't come along very often in fantasy football. Now, I think for Joe Mixon to see the volume, if he's hitting that 55, 60 range of the volume, I mean, he's got that top 10 potential in my opinion. Now, it all depends on the offensive line and everything else and how well Dalton and Marvin Lewis and Bill Lazor figure out what they're going to do. But
Hopefully they address it tonight.
I really hope they do for Bengal fans' sake. Didn't you say that we were talking about it off air? There was I don't know how serious it was, but there was potential of a potential quarterback.
Yeah.
Don't say it. Just don't even go.
Don't.
I gotta say it. I want to say it.
No.
Go for it. What do you got?
Lamar Jackson to the Bengals.
Gosh.
I read an article that said they're doing the RPO stuff and said Bengals were intrigued by Lamar Jackson.
Yep. And I'm intrigued at looking at a new team.
Oh man!
All right, before we go, who do you want your team? Name a player you want your team to draft in this first round.
Oh gosh, just offensive lineman. Just
Any
don't.
one of
It
them.
doesn't matter.
Well, Nelson's probably not going to be there, but that other guy from what's his name?
I can't think of the center they were looking at.
Yeah.
Either.
Arkansas? Was he
Yeah.
from Arkansas?
It's just slipping my mind, but that's who that's who I hope they go.
All right, so Cincinnati offensive lineman. What's Dallas doing?
Dallas, from everything that I'm understanding, they're going to go defense in the first round. So I'm hoping they really, since moving Byron Jones to corner, they need a new safety. So I would like to see James out of Florida State. But if not, they need to get one of these top defensive tackles, I think, because that's what they're missing on the defensive front. They got plenty of pass rushers. They just don't have a big body in the
Interior
middle.
lineman. See, I think Washington's on the same length as Dallas. Vita,
Right.
defensive tackle. Deron Payne,
Yep.
Derwin James, Minka Fitzpatrick. I'd be happy with either one of those guys.
Yes, I agree. So we'll see. It's going to be interesting. We're going to sit down and watch it here. So.
Yeah.
All right. Just want to tell you guys thanks again for tuning in to today's show. Please check out our site, thehateful8ff.com, where you can check out the articles and apparel. Follow our personal accounts at jpickleTH8FF, at jblackburnTH8FF.
Almost at 600.
Almost at 600. Kudos. I hit 1,000 and
Almost
Trimboli
at 250s.
250s ish. Anyways, at ftrimth8ff. Don't forget to join the Average Joe Nation via our Patreon account, where you can sign up and pre-order that 2018 draft loadout, as well as get your in-season weekly help. Don't point to that team.
Hey.
Anyways, but officially, we do want to formally welcome in 3 of our newest writers, Evan, Frank, and Jeremy. Welcome to the crew. We've already had Jeremy and Evan's articles already out there, so it's exciting that we're being able to add some more writers to get this content going. So I think
stuff.
I think our writers from last year and are still with us. Obviously, all of them are good guys, and I just think it was nice to be able to add a little bit of help, so they're not completely taking over and writing every other day. So
Yeah.
all right. Anything you guys want to add before we go?
Nope. Thanks, guys. It's been great, but we're getting ready to hit this draft.
Hit this draft.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, again, if you're watching us on YouTube, smash that like button, hit the subscribe.
Subscribe.
Yes.
Comment below if you like our segments,
Yes.
you want to see us do something.
Anything you want to see us talk about in the next
Yep.
couple of weeks, whatever you got.
Hit us up on Twitter. Hit us
Yep.
up on YouTube. Anyway.
Facebook, we got it all. So, all right, we'll see you guys next week.
One more time. no one like these three. You know you just heard Pickle, Blackburn, and Trimboli. Give the goods talking about nothing but fantasy football. Yeah, it's your year to dominate and to wear that ring. Prepare for the draft and dial in on your craft. Quarterback, the first round is a good choice, you ask? This guy's got first round pick, a favorite? Not so fast. He failed to tune into Hateful Eight. He's a chump in his